Hi, um, this is Natural Chic. I have been natural now for 5 years, and I love, love, love being natural. It's just one of the coolest things. People, especially who kind of grew up in my generation, when you were in elementary school, if you had naps in the kitchen, you'd be made fun of and kind of ridiculed. And so that was my experience growing up anyway. And I actually was getting perms ever since I was 4 years old, 4 or 5. And when I was a kid, there were no kitty perms. It was the full grown, lie experience. And the first time I got one, my hair started falling out in the sink. 20 years later, I was still getting them. And then I decided enough was enough. So I actually started to research and read books and, look at things like I wasn't really into the internet back then, but I was kind of talking to people, asking questions, and I finally made the leap. So these videos, I'm going to do it like a series, and they're basically about the courage to become a natural and my journey. Every journey is different. I mean, some people kind of take the same path, but I think the emotions and the self-discovery, everything that we go through as naturals is different. The whole hair journey, it finds its own place. For example, I have a friend who went natural because she was in college and she couldn't afford to go to the hairdresser. So it was kind of an accidental thing. I know a natural who had a really horrible experience and she just kind of had to cut off all of her hair, and she was pretty much halfway there. So when she let her hair grow out, she just cut off the ends and went natural and rocked it like that. So, like I said, every journey is kind of different. And the first video that I'm doing, basically, this one is called How I Got Here, the basics. And it's what I would have wanted to have seen when I was thinking about going natural. I don't expect anyone to listen to this and say, or watch this rather, and say, yeah, you know what? I want to do that. That's exactly how I'm going to do it. But even though the journeys are different, I think there are places where they kind of interlock sometimes. So basically, I just want to share my story. I was a permaholic. I'd get my hair relaxed every month. I was on a schedule. I was, I had just graduated from college. I had just gotten my first full-time, my first full-time job. And I was on a schedule where I would perm at the beginning of the month, and then 2 weeks later I would come back for the wash and set, and she would, burn the hell out of my hair. Also, I realized they were very, very stingy with information, and I felt weird because it was like, this is my hair. I should know how to handle it, how to take care of it. But whenever I would go home, no matter what product I would buy, no matter what tool I would get, my hair never looked the way it did when I went to the salon. And I realized two things. One, it wasn't supposed to look the same if I was going to take care of it at home. It couldn't look the same. The reason that your hair, when you go to the salon, looks so good is because they're professionals. They're trained. And so you go home and your hair does not look the same way when you try to do it, which means you need them. And I'm not saying salon, beauticians are evil or anything like that. There is a certain amount of control, and so basically they want you to come back. I mean, that's their job, to make you come back. Another thing I realized was I was spending a lot of time. It was a part of the culture, of course, You go to the beauty salon as early as possible, and you spend the time that you need to spend, and you let them burn the hell out of your head, and then you go home. And you really don't have a right to complain. It's like they're doing you a favor. And eventually I felt like I didn't agree with that culture. I didn't want to be part of it. So I really started to look at what I was doing, and I talked to a braider that I knew, excuse me, and I told her I want braids. I want to start transitioning. So she braided my hair for me. And what I did was, this is how I transitioned. I kept the braids in for 3 months. And I didn't really know that I was going to do it this time. I had started to transition twice. Both times, what happened was I kept braids in my hair for a long time. And then I got to a point where it was like, wow, I have a lot of hair. And, the root was kind of nappy, and it was interesting. I was like mildly interested in what would come out of it. But I decided that I had to run back to the creamy crack. So that's what I did. And of course, it broke off. And I tried it again. Same thing. I got a little more like that. I was like, okay, I have more money this time, so I know I can kind of take care of my hair in the way that I need to make it stick. And my hair was fairly long for a while. I mean, it was, when I got to that stage of my life, my hair was the longest it had been, probably like to my shoulder. But it wasn't healthy. And I always felt like it wasn't me. It didn't really look like me. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm trying to rock my daughter to sleep while I'm talking. So yeah. So I started transitioning inside of braids. And for the first 3 months, I was like, okay, it's cool. I took them out, and there was a lot of tingling because I had the different textures. I was not prepared for that, but I got it braided up again, and I rocked that for 3 more months. So basically, I just kept transitioning. I just kept braiding up my hair until I got to a year. I had a year's worth of growth, and I had, like 7 inches of permed hair at the end. May of 2006, I gave my husband the scissors, and I said, honey, can you please cut me up? And he said, okay. And he cut off all the permed ends, and I had this nice, big, very healthy fro. Now, I kind of wanted this to just be like the introduction, so I'm going to do another video where I talk about what I did to get started, okay?